Ein Willkommen, schönen guten Morgen aus Innsbruck. Ich hatte normalerweise jene Dame, die alles weiß über diese Austrian Climbing Summer Series, Anna Stör, aber die hat leider verschlafen. Jetzt müssen wir noch weiter warten, werden uns aber diese Zeit überbrücken, bis die Anna wach ist, indem wir einmal noch, bevor es hier hinter mir losgeht, mit dem Boulder-Semifinale der Herren, einen Blick nach außen. Innsbruck, Tirol, das ist ja nicht nur die Entscheidung in dieser Summer Series, der erste Wettkampf nach dem Corona-Lockdown, sondern vor allem auch natürlich die Möglichkeit, das Ganze in der Natur hautnah zu erleben. Wir werden euch auch heute wieder 4 Greatest Lines vorstellen und beginnen jetzt im Ötztal mit einer echten Risskletterroute.
Also beim Rissklettern ist der große Unterschied zum normalen Klettern.
The big difference between crack climbing and normal climbing is that in a crack you have to apply pressure to the sides. In climbing courses, I first show participants how it should be done. The idea is that one day they can apply what they have learned to a climb they have always wanted to do. That is the best feeling. Christian and Maren told me they want to get better at climbing cracks.
So,
Now,
jetzt seid ihr dran.
it's your turn. You can do it easily. Maren is new to crack climbing and has made huge progress.
Der Weiße Riese war eine richtig spannende Route.
The Weiße Riese is a really cool route. I like the fact that it's so varied. That makes it interesting to climb. The first section's easy. Then comes the crack. Towards the end, it was pretty tough for me.
Gewaltig, Maren, hey.
Great, Maren. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You almost had it on that last attempt.
Das bedeutet auch für mich, dass ich ein neues Projekt habe.
For me, it means that I have a new project to work on. Next time I come back here, I hope I'll be able to complete the Weiße Riese.
Good job. You climbed really well and with lots of courage.
Thanks.
Aus dem Ötztal zurück in Innsbruck, wo wir uns wieder dem Kunstfels hingeben und Anna Stör doch geschafft. Was war los heute in der Früh mit dem Aufwachen und so?
Hin und wieder dauert es ein bisschen länger, aber ich bin, würde ich sagen, pünktlichst eingetroffen und jetzt total gespannt auf die zweiten Teil der Austrian Climbing Summer Series.
Ja, natürlich, weil um 9 Uhr geht's los. Davor wollen wir aber noch einmal letzte Woche Revue passieren lassen. Wir haben einige Überraschungsleute gehabt bei den Herren. Deutschland war sehr stark. Jetzt haben wir nach der gestrigen Qualifikation wieder Jakob Schubert vorne. Was ist dir hängen geblieben, so als Learning von letzter Woche fürs heutige Semifinale?
Ja, der Jakob hat in der Qualifikation als einziger 5 Boulder geschafft. Der ist natürlich wieder heiß auf seine Favoritenrolle. Die Deutschen gestern ein wenig abgeschlagen und die jungen Österreicher, die letztes Mal das Finale versäumt haben, wie Florian Klingler und Nikolai Uschnik, wieder ganz vorne dabei und heiß auf einen Finalplatz heute.
Ja, der einzige Gast, der momentan quasi aus einer anderen Nation kommt, mit Deutschland und der Schweiz, sind ja 2 Gastnationen hier dabei bei der Austrian Climbing Summer Series, ist Sascha Lehmann. Der ist momentan auf Zwischenrang 3. Wir lassen die letzte Woche, bevor es hier losgeht, Revue passieren. Wir sind bereit und lassen uns losgehen. Teil 2 der Boulderentscheidung der Austrian Summer Series. Haben wir nicht einmal mehr klein.
Back to Innsbruck. It is week 2 of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series, and semi-finals at first, as they were last week. In the change from last week, it is the men climbing first. The women will be climbing at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Charlie Bosco here with Anna Stroh alongside me, as she was all of last week. Big day last week, Anna. Ready for the same again?
Yeah, I guess. I had a week of recovery and now I'm back. I'm happy to join the Austrian Climber Summer Series again. And yeah, warm welcome from my side.
Yes, we start on the slab this time. If you watched our coverage last week, you'll know that the slab is over to the right of the wall. Actually, a last-minute change when I was looking at the boulders earlier on today. This was boulder number 4. The route setters had decided, I believe, last night that they were going to swap them round. So this morning they came in, moved the signs around, and we're going to go from right to left. And it's a tricky slab once again, and a particularly powerful-looking slab with not the easiest start. And if you leave the ground completely, as Andreas Hofherr, the younger of the 2 Hofherr brothers, has done, then you have officially started the boulder. So he has used attempts every time he's done this start. I have to say, when I was standing underneath it, as a man with only one functioning hip, I did struggle to imagine how you would start it, and already it's causing problems. But it's a technical slab, but also quite a powerful slab. The move out to the zone requires a lot of stability through the shoulders. And in general, this is quite a powerful round of boulders, as we'll see as the climbers move through them.
Yeah, the first move, the problem is that at these big volumes there are no holds at all, so they're super tricky to hold. Apparently you can stem yourself into it as if it were a chimney. That's apparently the easiest version, but as we all know, there are always multiple ways to solve a boulder problem.
Andreas Hofherr, who we're watching now, he came through with 1 top in qualifying, but Jakob Schubert at the other end of the qualifying ranking, got 5 tops. So quite a large discrepancy between the highest ranked climber and the lowest ranked climber.
Yeah, I mean, the route setters had a really hard time. I mean, you have to imagine that the youngest climbers are youth A category. They're trying to get themselves established in the European Youth Cups, whereas we also have climbers such as Sascha Lehmann and Jakob Schubert who have obviously already won World Cups. So it's really hard for the route setters to get the level right, and that's why it starts out really tricky for Andreas here.
If you didn't see our coverage last week, this is the Austrian Climbing Summer Series. Obviously predominantly Austrian athletes, but both Switzerland and Germany have been invited to bring 4 athletes per gender. And Switzerland brought 2 climbers, one of whom made the semi-final, Sascha Lehmann, who we've already mentioned today. And all 4 of the German youngsters have made it into the semi-final. So Germany doing well, just as they did last week when they had half of the finalists.
Yeah, even though Jan Heuer and Alexander Megos, the 2 Germans who are already qualified for the Olympic Games, did not join the Austrian Summer Series, but stayed home. But the Germans seem to have a good youth team and a good team overall, and now Andreas finally did the first move. A little bit too fast to go to the zone.
Yeah, so you can see, we caught a glimpse of it there, the zone, it's not the whole of that volume, there is actually a tiny, tiny hold, a very specific hold that is the zone hold. So just getting the big volume that he's about to touch, or was about to touch, would not be enough. You have to get that tiny hold. A couple of methods of doing this one, perhaps you put your right palm down onto the zone, and then from there it's a bit of an awkward release, and it's quite powerful just holding on to it. There you can see he's secured the zone. Well, in fact, I'll leave that to the judges to decide, but he certainly touched the zone.
Yeah, sometimes it's tricky to judge. Like last week, if you remember in semifinals, we had a tricky decision when it came to touching the zone, because you're not only supposed to touch it, but you actually move your body while holding it somehow. And sometimes it's really a tricky decision from the judges.
First of the German climbers out, Stefan Schmieg. Another youngster, 21 years old. Germany and Switzerland seem to have taken different approaches to this competition. Switzerland seemingly bringing their big guns, Sascha Lehmann and Petra Klingler. And Germany seemingly leaving the better known climbers at home and bringing their youth team. But ironically, Germany have done better so far in this summer series. He's also off to a slightly better start. Perhaps slightly easier if you're a bit taller at the start, a bit less of a jump up.
Yeah, less of a jump, but so hard to say if the boulders are easier or harder, whether you're small or
We're just being
tall.
small, I just assume everything's harder for small people.
Yeah, I mean, of course, sometimes, or a lot of times, bouldering is a question of span. And the more span you have, the easier you reach the next hold. But then sometimes when it comes to roof climbing, it can be a disadvantage if you're taller. But here could be better for, or could be a little bit easier for Stefan maybe. He's definitely a lot taller than Andreas, who we saw just before.
Yeah, you see he's able to get that left foot behind him and really solidly on that left-hand volume as he starts. Can he roll over and get this zone? You can see it down there. You can barely see the hole, but at least you can see the sign and the tape.
Yeah, the hold is definitely tiny. He's trying a different approach. Come on.
Remember, if he tops the boulder, he doesn't have to use the zone. I think that might have just been for the benefit of the judges.
But you really, as you can see, you really have to trust your foot here. It's only a volume, there's no edge where he could stand on, but he can only like smear on the volume, which is tricky, and now he has to let go.
Yeah, so one method I'm told is to get in the position he was in and then roll your right hand, your palm down onto the zone, shuffle your feet a little bit, and then just throw your right hand up and try and catch it.
Yeah, the volume just below the top that you cannot see right now is definitely in a better position. The other volumes, you can't really hold them. You really have to trust your feet, especially on this first part of the boulder. And then once you get to the top below, to the hold below the top, it gets slightly easier. Now Stefan is taking the time to have another look at the boulder, trying to figure out whether he might not have seen something.
Yeah, it might not come across on camera as well, but it's surprisingly tiring, this boulder, I'm told. You're kind of pushing yourself onto the wall with your shoulders, and it takes a little more energy than you might think a slab would. So will he roll down to the zone? I think presumably you've got to use the zone. I don't think you could just go right. Might be too far.
I would think if he's in this position, he can go straight to the holds below the top. But of course you need to validate the zone once, because if you don't get to the top, then you don't have any score. But he did that in his previous attempt, so the zone's definitely...
Andreas Hofer not awarded the zone, by the way. We saw him touch it, but
Yeah, you'd have to
probably didn't use it.
You'd have to move your hand or leg or something while touching the zone. Only touching it, not moving any other part of your body doesn't help.
We're on normal World Cup rules here, by the way. Same scoring system, same format for the semi-final, so 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off. So after this, Andreas Hofer, who we saw a few minutes ago, will be back out, and David Zinsler of Austria will be joining him. And about 40 minutes from now, we'll have a full stage. So Stefan, no joy there, disappears with his brush. One of the few things that visibly you can see on the live stream that's changed is that the climbers bring their own brushes and they keep it for the whole round, and then it gets disinfected and handed on. So David Zinsler comes out now. He'll take his turn on the slab, and Andreas Hofer, the only climber in this semi-final actually who only got one top in the qualifiers, came down to attempts to see him into the semi-final. He's attempting number 2. Interested to see number 2. I think there could be a few methods on this one. It'll certainly be done dynamically. But when we have a better look at the boulder, we'll be able to discuss possible methods.
Yeah, now we can see the 2 youngsters of the Austrian climbing team, both 16 years young and qualified in semifinals, which is definitely a good experience for them. Oh, nice. Andreas with the toe catch on boulder number 2.
Yeah, that's certainly the best way of doing the start of number 2. The hard bit then will be releasing, because you can see you catch with your right hand and then you need to go outright again. So there's going to need to be a hand swap, or well, we'll see. We'll see how they cope with it, but he's certainly got the right idea. Stefan Schmieg, by the way, awarded the zone on number 1.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see the different approaches to when it comes to tactics, because these 2 are the youngest, as I said before, and let's see if they use a lot of attempts or if they are experienced enough to actually take a step back and not use too many attempts while trying one boulder. Because in the youth, or when you're younger, you tend to always try and get to the wall and not waste any time. At the end of the day, you can try a boulder like 15 times, whereas it's not energy efficient.
Andreas Hofer successfully latching that hole on number 2, and you can see he had to do a hand swap, and then he fires across to the zone. And then the final hold, you've got to get underneath it, so you'll try and get your foot up and then lever yourself up and press underneath the top hold.
Yeah, it's a kind of mantle to the top, almost. And Andreas with his first zone. Good job.
Yeah, 4th attempt, he got that.
And that's interesting, you just saw David changing his shoes. So now he has a different shoe on the right foot than on the left one. And yeah, you could also see it in the World Cup sometimes. And also last week, I believe it was Jakob Schubert who changed shoes during the semi-final round.
Yeah, and he put a stiffer shoe on to do the slab. Was that right? Didn't he change his shoes?
He changed from the Futura to the Solution, you're right.
Thought he should have changed the other way. So you can see Andreas, no problem with the toe catch, no problem with the hand swap. The tricky bit was getting his foot up.
Yeah, come on, Andreas. Would be really cool to see the first top from Andreas. It would be his first top in the Austrian Climbing Summer Series. Come on, Andreas. Almost, not quite.
I have to say, when I was looking at the boulders earlier, I think we'll see a few tops in this round. I think we'll see someone get 4 tops. The boulders all look possible.
Yeah, I hope we will. I mean, that's always the goal from the route setters. They always want, of course, the leader from the semi-final to climb all 4 tops. Preferably, say 2 people climb 4, 2, 3, and then two boulders for the final round.
Frustration reigning on number 1.
Can you see the, what David is brushing right now? You can see that he was sweating because these are drips of, or the remains of his sweat on the volume. And of course this makes a big difference, whether your skin is sweaty or not. Especially on volumes where there are no edges, no holds, you can't really hold on to anything. It's a very tricky slab, that first boulder.
We should point out, conditions are much better this week actually in Innsbruck. It was cold this morning. Well, cold's an exaggeration. It was cold by the standards of Innsbruck in July.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a damp day.
It's July and it's the complete opposite of last week. We had a beautiful day last week and now today it's rainy outside. And ideal to watch an Austrian climbing summer series.
So no tops as yet. Matthias Posch gets climbing now on number 1, and Stefan Schmieg is back out. He'll be trying his luck on number 2. Matthias Posch, also a very accomplished lead climber. Be argued better at lead than boulder, but certainly an all-rounder. Stefan Schmieg, meanwhile, who actually leads away at this very early stage, having got the zone on his 3rd attempt on number 1, is back out on the stage. He's on number 2.
Yeah, and Matthias was already part of the first part of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series, where he finished 17th. So another semi-final round for him. He is from Imst, a little bit west of Innsbruck, and he prefers crimps to slopers. You might be able to see that on boulder number 4. Usually, if he has a crimp in his hand, he won't let go. But now on the slab,
I'm just looking across the stage. I'm not sure how much he's going to enjoy this semi-final.
He'll have to wait until boulder number 4.
Das Semifinale der Herren. 13 Uhr startet dann das Semifinale der Damen. 17 Uhr.
Stefan is having a hard time with this first toe catch.
Finale der Damen. Wer folgt? Jakob Schubert, Philipp Martin und Christoph Schweiger. Die Gewinner der letzten Woche. Wer folgt Ihnen nach?
I read the comments from last week during our live stream, and some people mentioned that they don't want any close-ups, but we have to apologize. This is a TV production, so the whole event is live broadcast, not only by Epic TV, but also by Austrian TV, and they are producing the images. So, yeah, we can't change any of that.
I quite like the close-ups.
I enjoy that too, but I just read that some people don't, and of course that's always individual.
You're right.
Oh, Stefan is trying a completely different version. He tried to jump to the zone.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about on number 2. I wonder if you could just keep going, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure there's much advantage to keeping going. The hand swap doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, the problem is the zone really doesn't look very good, especially if you don't have anything to hold your body back, like the toe catch. But maybe he doesn't believe that he fits in the box of the toe catch. Of course, then it would be a good idea. And now Matthias almost on the zone. Come on. He has to get a little bit closer and, yeah, moved his foot, so he probably got it.
Now you see, there's a lot of chalk where his right foot is.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could go low.
He just did, actually.
Yeah, but really low, like almost touching the floor.
Probably not. I mean, I'd never say never on a boulder, but I don't think that you can. I think it's chalk from the palm.
Yeah.
But that was the best attempt we've seen so far.
Yeah.
On the slab from Matthias.
Yeah, the tricky bit is keeping your feet on as you move right, but the last move is no joke either, because it's not a positive hold waiting for you. You're going to press into the top hold rather than grabbing it.
Yeah, there really are no edges or nothing to really hold on to on this first boulder problem. The boulders were set by the route setting team around Florian.
Let's go.
And joined by Andreas Matuschka, Martin Hammerer and Joch Verhoeven. And now Stefan managed to do the first part of the boulder. Come on now. Will we see the first top? This looks very promising. If he's able to press into... Come on.
It's a really uncomfortable position, but
Whoa.
I was about to say, if he could get his right hip pushed against the wall, you might be able to lean on that second to last hold. Matthias Posch, meanwhile, back up to a similar point he was at last time, but I think time will be against him.
Oh, too bad. Some really good attempts by Matthias.
That's frustrating for him. You might have heard the beeps. Timed out.
Yeah, 5 minutes go by fast, especially when you're stuck on the slab, in my opinion.
Stefan Rest, next climber to get underway. In the final last week, ended up 6th. All Austria on the stage, Stefan Rest, David Zinsler and Andreas Hofher. His brother will be out next, and Johannes Hofher will be the 6th climber out.
Yeah, I think Stefan was surprised himself last week, excuse me. He was a little bit surprised that he qualified for finals because he actually just finished high school and did not train as much as he usually trains.
Andreas Hoffer there just starting on number 3. Remember, you have to achieve a stable starting position, a stable position on the start holds, which I'm not entirely sure he did. Judges don't seem to mind. Stefan Rest now, as I say, finalist last time out. Really good week for him.
Nice, he figured out the start quite fast. Didn't have too many problems there. Yeah, moved his foot, so probably validated the zone.
Judges have not got an easy job on this slab.
Neither judges nor route setters do in a climbing competition. Come on, Andy. Oh, and first top for
nicely done, full of confidence.
This round and for Andy Hofer. Nice job.
Yeah, really good stuff from Andreas Hofher. First top, and it was on his 3rd attempt, so he must have burned a few attempts while we weren't watching him.
And David Zinsler making fast work of boulder number 2. Nice one. First top in boulder number 2.
Yeah, he managed to get high up so he could turn his left hand down, kind of pull up on the hold.
Yeah, too bad we didn't see the first part of his boulder, but we can focus all our attention now on Stefan Rest and boulder number 1. Maybe this will be the round where we'll see all 3 tops. Who knows? Can he be the first one to climb boulder number 1?
We saw Matthias Posch latch this move, but sadly ran out of time.
And he's the first one to actually get in a comfortable position.
And interestingly, he did the move slowly. Didn't fire across, took his time.
Did it in a really nice manner. And now uses the heel hook, which is a smart idea. Nice.
Oh, really nice top from Stefan Rest.
Yeah, beautifully climbed by Stefan.
Yeah, he climbed it really well.
Shakes his head nonetheless. Sometimes if you do a boulder as an athlete, you believe that, I should have done it a little bit earlier. Because once you do it, it sometimes feels kind of easy, you know?
Climbers are never happy, are they?
Hard to satisfy, that's true.
Let's have another look. So yeah, he got the heel hook, trusted the left foot. Smoothly done, looked in control all the way there. It's a really good top. So suddenly we find the stage empty. All 3 boulders topped on this rotation.
1 minute left on the clock. And yeah, it might seem normal on the live stream, but it certainly does not if you have our perspective. We are set at the back of the wall, at the back of the
hall.
Hall, thank you. And we're looking at empty seats, Charlie.
Yeah, it's very strange. We talked about it last week. All the chairs are socially distanced, so the coaches and officials, who are actually really the only people allowed in here, we can't have spectators. We can't even have the female competitors. They can't come and watch the men's semi-final or final, and vice versa. So everyone is on a socially distanced chair. Many of the officials wearing masks. If people can't be socially distanced, they have to wear masks. But yeah, the crowd really restricted to coaches, other athletes, officials, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that's interesting also for the athletes, because usually as an athlete you're used to a big crowd behind you, and sometimes that crowd gives you the extra motivation to push a little bit harder.
You're certainly used to it in Innsbruck. It feels so strange to be here of all places with no crowd.
That's true, yes. Innsbruck has had a long tradition of holding or organizing climbing comps. We've been at the Marktplatz, for example, or at the Olympic Hall, where the World Championship in 2018 took place. And now we're actually just behind the climbing gym, the Kletterzentrum, in the athletics hall. This is where the world champion wall was installed, and that's where these climbers are giving their best today.
Johannes Hofher, second of the Hofher brothers and the elder, just got his round underway. Stefan Schmieg making number 3 look pretty straightforward. I think that boulder's going to see an awful lot of tops.
Second top from Stefan Schmieg. He topped boulder number 2. No, my bad. He did not top boulder number 2. Excuse me. He topped boulder number 3. His first top for Stefan Schmieg. He almost topped number 2, but that doesn't count. As you all know, only zone and top are scores that count in bouldering.
So Germany once again having a good week. They brought 4 young climbers to this event. All 4 made it through to the semi-final. Stefan Schmieg, the first of them to appear. And then Christoph Schweiger, who was 3rd last week, will be out. He'll be the 10th climber out today. But yeah, all 4 of the young Germans through. Switzerland just brought 2 men to the competition, Benjamin Blaser and Sascha Lehmann. Sascha, the only one of the 2 to progress to the semi-final. think we're about to see another top on number 2. Yes, we are. Matthias Posch.
Good job by Matthias, and I believe that we will see a lot of tops today.
I think we will. Attempts could be crucial.
Yeah.
Matthias Posch, who nearly got the job done on number 1, probably would have done if he'd had another 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. And now he topped number 2. We've already seen 2 tops on boulder number 3. And this could mean that it's an easier round. Of course, that is a speculation, because sometimes it happens that the last climbers out are being stressed by the pressure of the previous climbers. That's why sometimes it's all mixed up. But if the climbers at the beginning of the semi-final can already top a lot of boulders, that means that the round will be a little bit easier. And Johannes is taking his time now, shaking out again. Of course, he knows that the climber before him, Stefan Rest, just climbed the boulder because he came back before the 5 minutes were over. That's why Johannes knows that this boulder is definitely climbable.
We just had a question, by the way, on our live stream about how to follow the scores live. If you go to the Austria Climbing website, austriaclimbing.com, and then click on Wettkampf Sport, there'll be a drop-down menu and you can click Calendar. And then from there, you should be able to find the competition and click on the relevant link. So yeah, go to austriaclimbing.com, submenu Wettkampf Sport, down to calendar, and if you scroll down, you will find Austria Climbing National Team Summer Series. Catchy name. And you'll be able to get all the results from last week and the live scores for this week. Of course, with comedy timing, my internet's now died, but you'll have to take my word for it. 20 seconds to go.
15 seconds for Johannes. Could still be able to grab the zone, but he really does not like this starting position. He will move back to the transit zone and we'll get another set of athletes out on the mats. First time that we'll see boulder number 4.
Yeah, so all the boulders been topped so far, but first chance to see number 4. Andreas Hoffer, who's been first onto every boulder, is first onto number 4, Thomas Podlan, a name which will be familiar to people who've watched the IFSC Youth World Championships over the last few years. Always a climber who puts on a show. He is out on the slab. All Austria on the stage. There is Thomas Podlan, speak of the devil. So, tricky start for him to come out. We talked a little bit about it last week. You were saying that when you come out, you like to get all that adrenaline to use on a hard boulder. Climbers have got to start with the slab. Could be about to see another top here on number 3. Slightly alternative method. Most climbers have just jumped for it. The top hold's not bad at all. He's just a little short on it.
But David was just a little short of that top hold, yeah. And now we'll see the crimpy boulder number 4, tried by Andreas. And these holds are no jokes.
Yeah, a bit like on number 2. Could be a few methods on number 4.
Yes, definitely.
Looks like we want to do the first move slowly and then speed up after that, but we'll see. We'll stick with Thomas Podlan now. Crane camera giving us a good angle.
Yep. Interesting where he places his foot. Because at the volume I would try and place it a little bit further out, so I'd have a better, I could stand on it a little bit more comfortably. But for him it seems to work. And now Stefan Rest is struggling with the last move. Can he match the top hold and get the second top? Yes, he can. Leading the way now, Stefan Rest with 2 tops so far on 2 boulders. Which gives him, of course, a confidence boost because he topped 2 boulders and has 2 to go. Comfortable position to be in now in the transit zone. He can shake out for 7 minutes, which is nice too. And the next top by David Zinsler.
Yes, got it that time. Came close on the attempt before. Thomas Podlan still climbing on number 1.
Seems as if number 1 and 4 are the harder ones. Of course, we've seen the most tops on boulder number 2 so far. So it seems as if boulder number 2 is the easiest of this round. And now Andreas manages to get the zone on boulder number 4. Can he make it to the top? Oh, I'll have to match this tiny little crimp.
Yeah, and the hold above that is, what's the word? It's a bit early in the morning, upside down.
Yeah, turned the wrong way. You wanted to have it in a positive way, but of course that would be too easy for these climbers. They're looking for a challenge.
Yeah, so the climbers have to undercling that. So if you're wondering why I didn't just smash up to the next hole, that's why. You've actually got to get your feet sorted so that you can go in a pretty stable position.
And that's nice. Now you can see Andreas imagining the boulder in his mind. trying to sort out the right sequence. And sometimes it helps if you gesture it with your hands, because that's actually how your body kind of gets in the right mood.
"40 seconds to go for him to find the top here. He's already been up to the zone.
Yeah, since it's the last boulder, Andreas will try again, and also Thomas tries again. Thomas is trained by his father. He lives in Salzburg, not far from Innsbruck. Come on, Thomas. I believe it would help if he could put his foot a little bit further out on the volume. 5 seconds are not enough time. Too bad for Thomas. And we have another rotation.
So Andreas Hofer, the first climber to complete his rotation. Kevin Heiniger, now the lowest ranked of the climbers yesterday, who got 3 tops.
And one of the more experienced climbers in this round. He's 27 years old and has already started at a couple of World Cups. His first World Cup start was actually in 2010 in Chamonix at a lead World Cup. Since then he's mostly focused on bouldering World Cups.
Yeah, my apologies. I said Switzerland only bought 2 climbers. Kevin Heiniger, the third, my apologies. Counting at this time in the morning, even when it's only to 3, is quite the challenge.
Not 10 o'clock yet, so that's okay. And now Matthias is already high up on boulder number 2. Can he top it in his first go? Yes, he can. 2 tops so far for Matthias Posch. Did not manage to climb the slab. Almost managed, but ran out of time. And now he climbs boulder number 2 and 3. Kevin has a different idea to start this boulder. Always so interesting to see the different methods. You can never say this is how it goes in a bouldering competition, because the climbers are very creative, just like the route setters. They'll come up with different versions, which is quite cool in my opinion. But you really have to trust this right foot on the slab.
So he's safely up to the zone, got to match that, and then you can see that hold I was talking about above.
Yeah, now Stefan Schmieg, will he make it to the right hand undercling? He would be the first one to do so. Yeah.
It's a dual texture hold, that right hand. The outside of it's not much good, so that's, you've got to grab it in quite a specific place.
But Kevin really has to trust his feet on this boulder. Nothing to hold on to. And he has to lean over or jump over. But doesn't quite manage. Next go.
So 3 climbers still on the stage. Men's 3 topped once again. Don't often see a boulder in a semi-final that every climber tops, but it seems possible that number 3 might go that way.
Yeah, number 3 could be the one, that's true. Of course, it's hard for the route setters because there are climbers from the youth category and world-class athletes.
Yeah,
so it's hard to separate them and to set the level, or to set the boulders on the right level.
Yeah, we mentioned this earlier. Andreas Hofer came into the semi-final with 1 top, and Jakob Schubert got 5 in the qualifying round and only needed 9 attempts to do them. Last week's winner, of course, Jakob Schubert. And he will be out last in today's semi-final, having been highest ranked in yesterday's qualifiers.
And now the older brother of Andreas, Johannes, on the right-hand side of your screen on boulder number 2. That has seen 2 tops so far. And now Stefan, on this boulder, Sven is not in a disadvantage.
And that looks like the method. Actually lands on his brush.
That's definitely the way. The question is whether he will have enough time and energy to try again. There's the 1 minute beep. He won't be able to rest long. And now Kevin on the slab.
You can see there 45 seconds to go. 5 minutes flat, as in a World Cup or World Championship final.
And if you're wondering why German and Swiss athletes were allowed, the reason is that Austrian Federation had to write a concept to the Ministry of Sport 2 months ago, and at that time the numbers of infections in both Germany and Switzerland were low enough. So the Ministry of Sport decided that 4 athletes from Switzerland and 4 from Germany could join this Austria Climbing Summer Series. Of course, Innsbruck would have loved to hold or to organize the World Cup that was scheduled at the end of May.
Yeah, end of May, start of June, something like that.
But sadly, of course, this was not possible this year. But we're happy to have the Austria Climbing Summer Series right now in Innsbruck. And some international athletes still back on the stage.
Yeah, Lawrence Burgersdorfer, latest climber out onto number 1. Thomas Podlan giving number 2 a brush. Yeah, the wall here in Innsbruck, generally overhanging. It's only the right-hand side that's just off to the shot where the slab is that is off vertical. No particularly steep panels. There's not any super steep parts, but it's pretty unrelenting other than the slab.
Yeah.
It's pretty physical round, this one.
And if you have seen the World Championship in Innsbruck in 2018, then you actually know this wall. It's the same wall that was used at the World Championship 2 years ago. And now we can see Laurent on boulder number 1. Already close to the zone, but not quite there. Hopefully validated it. It's hard to judge on this one. And as you can see, the tapes on the left-hand side, the green tapes, this is the starting position where you have to hold the whole volume, whereas the zone, in contrast, that's only the tiny little screw-on.
Yeah, in contrast, on the left, you can see on Boulder 4, the zone is the whole of that volume, so anything that's attached to that volume, you might be able to see it just under where it says Walltopia, there's a zone sign. If the zone tape is going to the volume, you can use anything on that volume. Here's Thomas, great camera angle.
Yep.
Up to the second
Pressing
of the green
hard
volumes.
now. Yeah, you really have to press into that undercling. The top hold is, no good. And you'll have to put your foot up in order to be able to hold it. And there it is. Top on boulder number 2 for Thomas Boderland.
Yes.
Yeah, surprisingly, Stefan is having some troubles with boulder number 3. He is the only climber so far to top 2 boulders. And boulder number 3 is supposedly the easiest one, since the most number of athletes have climbed this boulder. But it always depends on your personal preference, on what style you like. Laurent touching his back on the slab, and now David on boulder number 4. David is a young gun from Vienna, Austrian capital. And he's taking his time to brush the hold. Wow, Laurent already has his fingers taped.
Yeah, that's not a good sign at the start of the semi-final if you're already getting the tape out. Is it, or is it
oh,
for
but
a
it's
knee?
for his knee, apparently.
Now, is he going to tape? No, you can't tape your shorts onto your leg. You've got to tape the wound itself.
Yeah,
I have to say, on that slab, there is the potential for quite nasty falls, because if you've got your palm down and you slip, you don't really have much time to react.
Yeah, that's true.
Georg
Of course, the
gets a
danger
moment
of
fame on the live stream.
Yeah.
So you're saying?
Yeah, the danger of injury or injuring yourself is always present, but luckily in bouldering comps usually there are no grave injuries.
Yeah, touch wood, we don't see many. You can see there what I was
Not like
talking
ski
about.
racing. Sorry.
I went to the Hahnenklam this year.
Bah, okay.
There is not enough money in the world to make me go straight over that last jump.
No way. Come on, Laurens. And the reason why Laurens taped his knee is that you're not allowed to bleed. If you're bleeding, you have to tape it or bandage it somehow, because the next climber could have a disadvantage if blood's on the wall, on the holds. But come on!
Yes!
Oh, last second!
Stefan Ress slaps his legs. I think in frustration, I think he got that.
Oh my god, I believe he did, yes. And he is the first climber, if he gets the top, first one to walk away with 3 tops in 3 boulders. But that was a close call.
Yeah, I think he matched with 2 seconds to go and was in control, so I'd be surprised if he didn't get that.
Yeah, I'd be surprised too, in my opinion as well. He would, or he earned the top, but of course we're relying on the decision of the judges. They have the last word.
Christoph Schweiger's just got underway on number 1. He picked up the bronze medal last week. Came from nowhere, but climbed really well in the final. Super powerful climber. I was actually talking to a German coach the other day, and he was saying he is, even by this standards, he's an incredibly strong climber. And we saw that in last week's final.
Yeah, especially on the steeper part of the wall.
Yeah.
He's just smashed the powerful problems.
If he can do this slab with more powerful boulders to come, he could be in a really strong position for the second week running.
Christoph has already started in 3 bouldering World Cups, twice in Munich and once in Hachioji. Come on, don't disappoint me, Matthias, on these crimps. Too bad. As I said before, I will be interested to see Matthias on boulder number 4 because it's very crimpy and he usually enjoys crimps a lot. And now Christoph.
Yeah, Christoph levering his way right. Yeah, you can see how it'd be pretty easy to cut your knee.
Yeah.
Foot slipped off.
He was just a little bit too fast there, maybe. His pace was a little fast for this slab. Sometimes on a slab it's good to take your time.
It's been interesting. There've been times when the bowls have been getting done quickly, and yet on this rotation, no tops as yet. Tyus Posh pulls
yeah, Johannes was really close on his previous attempt. He stuck the zone but didn't quite get to the top on boulder number 3. And now we can see Kevin Heininger from Switzerland on the right hand side, Johannes Hofer in the center, and Matthias Posch on boulder number 4 on the left hand side of the wall. Come on, Matthias. Boy, he's trying in a completely different way, trying to go straight to the left hand undercling. And Kevin tops.
Yeah, top from Kevin Heiniger.
First top for Kevin in this semi-final round.
Yeah, Sasha Lehmann is still to come. The elder of the Hofherr brothers, Johannes, jumping out right on number 3. Reasonable hole he's going for at the top. Most climbers been bringing it home from here, and he does. Top on boulder 3. That one's still seeing a lot of traffic.
It is a committing move though on boulder number 3. We have seen some climbers who were just short of the top hold, but most of them managed to climb the boulder in the end. Oh, nice by Christoph Schweiger. Bah! Beautiful move. Did not quite stick it yet.
So still not seen a top on Boulder 4, albeit Matthias Posch is only the 4th climber to attempt it. And you see earlier on I was saying when the zone is denoted as a volume, you can use anything on the volume. So he already had the zone, but that's what you need to do to get it.
Yeah.
And manages a hand swap. Could we be about to see the first top? Oh, frustration. That
30
right foot
seconds
came off.
left on the clock, and that won't be enough, if you ask me. Because
it's a journey to get there.
yeah, and the problem is if you have just fallen off the last move, and then you don't have any time to rest, and you have to pull back on straight away, then that's really, really tiring and very difficult. So it'll be hard to get the top now in 5 seconds for Matthias. And he was the one who timed out on boulder number 1 as well, so he won't be super pleased with himself when it comes to timing.
Second German in succession now, Max Kleesattel, who only just missed the podium last week, 4th place for him in the first of the Austria Climbing Summer Series.
Yeah, Max is 21 years old, or young. And yeah, he looked very strong in the Austrian Climbing Summer Series Part 1 last week.
Yeah, another climber with 3 tops in yesterday's qualifiers. Got semi-finalists with 1 top and semi-finalists with 5 tops from the qualifiers, so big spread. Jakob Schubert, last week's winner, undoubtedly the man of the qualifiers yesterday. By the way, if you're used to watching World Cup coverage and you're wondering where the women's semi-finalists are taking place separately today, so the women will be out at 1 o'clock on this same wall once the route setters have reset the boulders. And then we've got the men's final and then the women's final later on this evening. So 4 broadcasts for you today, just as we did last week.
Yep. Although today it's a rainy day here in Innsbruck, and it's the ideal day to watch a climbing comp all day long.
Yeah, it is. But
So stay with us.
The in-between round sunbathing is not going to be as good as last week. Last week it was really good.
That's true.
Really topped up my tan. Not this week.
Yeah, since Innsbruck is in the middle of the Alps, you can't predict the weather. Even in July, you can have rainy days and rather cold days. Today I'm wearing jeans, no shorts, but yeah.
They organise everything, the Austrians. I have to say, superb organisation, but there are some things that even Austrians can't organise. Doesn't matter in here, though. We've got an excellent venue, actually. We're in the athletics hall right next to the Kletterzentrum as we watch Thomas Podlan, I think, lining up for another top of number 3. Just needs to really commit to this last move. It's a good hole he's going for, and he just about holds it. Matches, and he finds a top. Going well, Thomas Podlan.
2 tops for him so far. And now Kleesattel Max can be the 2nd climber to top this tricky slab, but he does not quite like the starting of this tricky boulder. And Laurens struggling on boulder number 2. Yeah, Rest Stefan having the same issue, I believe, as did Laurens before. He might have, or he might be bleeding somewhere, and he has to bandage it. Because according to IFSC rules, you cannot compete or climb while you have a wound, because it would give the next climber, of course, a disadvantage.
Yeah, and in these times, more than ever, there's also a big hygiene issue, so he needs to get fully taped up before he gets back on. Max Kleesattel just not quite sure what to do with his feet. Stefan Rest has obviously been patched up.
He could be the first one to top 4 boulders in this semi-final round. He has topped number 1, 2, and 3, and advances to the zone on boulder number 4.
Yeah, it could be a second final in a row for him. Perhaps struggling with his skin. The first thing he did when he came down was look at his right hand.
I mean, the problem is that these boulders, they're all fresh. They're all new holds. Nobody has used them before, except for the route setters. So it is very rough on your skin. And the competition, if you climb 3 rounds in a comps, you can see it on multiple occasions that climbers will look at their hands and look at their skin because, yeah, these volumes are rough.
Hard start for the skin on number 1 as well, as you can see from Max Kleesattel, because you got to squeeze that first volume and your hands just want to slip off and you just got to stop them doing that. It's not easy for the skin. 40 seconds left, almost saw him at the top there on number 2 from Lawrence. Oh, Max Kleesattel, this time he's got the move done, so just needs to slowly walk the feet up. We saw a toe hook employed when this was topped earlier. Will he need it?
Heel hook,
sorry,
yeah.
Heel hook, yep. He does use it. Took him a while to figure it out, but he got there in the end. Only the second time that boulder's been topped. Philipp Geisenhoff of Switzerland out next.
So we've seen 10 climbers already.
Yeah.
10 more to come.
No, we've seen 11. This is the 12th. Philipp, the 12th climber out.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Philipp qualified in 9th.
And now these, I was about to say, these shorts have to be seen to be believed.
Guys, no, Philipp definitely has his style game on.
I mean, it kind of looks like he forgot to put his shorts on and that's just his underwear, but
I'm sure climbers are very aware of what they're wearing, so
one or two
I guess
smiles
it's summer.
actually around the hall at those shorts. That is a man who's very comfortable in himself.
Yeah. Maybe Philipp is 20 years old and has started in 3 World Cups so far, twice in VR in lead and once in Meiringen in bouldering. And Schweiger Christoph is already close to the top of boulder number 2.
Yeah, he's pressing underneath. What he could ideally, do with, he's getting his hand that way round. That's how you top it. So top for him. Brilliant week for him last time in Innsbruck. Can he repeat it here again? Oh,
but that's a cool perspective.
Together.
Leaning completely horizontal for Philipp, and now Kevin on the way to the zone. And Johannes on boulder number 4, the most powerful one of this semi-final round at the Austrian Climbing Summer Series, part 2.
Going up to the zone
and he has the right method. Straight away with the left hand. Matthias.
Yeah, gets him in position to go out with the right. Now he's got this tricky hand swap here with the left hand. He's got to flick it upside down. Had the right idea, didn't quite manage to execute it. There's a man who's seems to have emerged out of lockdown pretty strong. He's been climbing well outside.
He has climbed a lot outside. He climbed up to 80 plus. And he lives in Vorarlberg, which is west of Innsbruck, close to the border of Switzerland, and there are a lot of different climbing areas. So for him, the lockdown, or at least the gyms, while the gyms were closed, he had plenty of stuff to do outside. Now Kevin is lining up for this move to the zone and finally sticks it. Now he has to commit for this last top move. Come on, Kevin. You can do it.
Got a hand on the top. Couldn't keep it there. His compatriot Philipp Geisenhoff again just can't quite figure out what to do with the feet.
And another climber who is changing shoes while trying to climb a slab.
It feels like we didn't used to see this very often, but it's becoming more and more common that people come out with multiple pairs of shoes.
Yeah, I mean, of course, also the shoes have become a lot different over the years. Nowadays, you can really fit your shoe to different styles of boulders. And on the slab, when there are only volumes to stand on, no edges, then it really helps if you have a very soft shoe where you can put your whole foot on the volume and have a lot of feeling on the hold.
45 seconds to go now.
So maybe it'll help Philip. Of course, the problem is always, does it distract me more if I change my shoes, or does it help more if I wear a little bit a softer shoe? That's always the thing that climbers have to deal with. And of course, it also takes time if you got to change your shoe during a 5-minute round. Because 5 minutes go by in an instant if you're struggling on the boulder. Come on now, Johannes. Oh.
Kevin Heiniger is not going to get it done on number 3.
And Johannes finishes his round with 1 top on boulder number 3.
Yeah, apologies. We're actually having 1 or 2 issues with the scores coming through to us. Now we can see them. Stefan Ress leading the way. Matthias Posch, David Zinser, Thomas Podland. The top 4 as it stands.
Yeah, and after most of our, the majority of climbers from the semi-final already out on the wall, I believe we can speculate that we'll need 3 or 4 boulders in order to advance to the finals. A wild speculation from my side would be that you'll need 3 boulders to advance to finals today.
I like wild speculation. Wild speculation is fine here.
I like facts rather than fiction.
So Austrian.
Yeah, that can be true. Although I like fiction when it comes to books. But let's focus on climbing now, not reading. Thomas Borderland on boulder number 4. His last boulder. And Max Kleesattel making quick work on boulder number 2. Already on the zone. Now he'll have to press up to get to that top hold. Yep, and now the foot on the zone, and perfectly done by Max Kleesattel.
Yeah,
He's
no problem at all.
climbed 2 boulders.
Yeah, 2 from 2. Stefan Ress, the only climber so far with 3 tops.
And Thomas is another climber who really likes crimps, just like Matthias Posch earlier.
Thomas, again, got 2 tops, could join the 3 top club. Nobody yet got 4. I definitely think somebody will get 4, could get 4.
And now we have Jan-Luca Posch on boulder number 1. He is 22 years old, one of the more experienced climbers in this round.
Amazing to say it, but yeah, you got a lot of young climbers here.
It's a good opportunity for the youngsters to try and compete with the older climbers. Doesn't happen all the time. And for them, it's really important for their experience. Just like for Laurenz on boulder number 3. He's part of the Austrian youth climbing team, 17 years young. Yeah, and he can compete directly with climbers such as Jan-Luca Posch on boulder number 1.
Amazing to be competing at this level at 17. Not sure what I was doing at 17, but I certainly wasn't taking on Jakob Schubert. Mind you, Jakob Schubert would then have been 12, so...
I don't even calculate that anymore.
I couldn't have taken him on.
Yeah, but Janni will definitely be looking at a strong performance today. He was not happy with his performance last week.
So Jakob?
Posch, Jan-Luca,
yeah.
excuse me. He finished 15th, and that was below his expectations. So let's hope that it'll work out a little bit better for him this week. Jan-Luca is brother of Kati Posch, Austrian lead climber who has climbed in various finals and has collected World Cup medals.
Another top there from Lawrence on number 3. So not everybody will get that one done, but I think the vast majority of climbers will. Thomas Podland still just struggling with that move out right. You see, yeah, might be clever climbing actually, because you get his feet set up. And a beeper sounds for a minute to go, and the big question is whether he's got the energy to go again. He's certainly got time, but it's an awful lot of moves to get up there.
Yeah, and especially on such a powerful problem, you really have to get your timing right. You really have to think about when you're going for the next attempt. In these 5 minutes, you can maybe make 4 good attempts in a powerful boulder. If you go high up on a slab, if you struggle with the starting position, of course you can have more attempts, but that's it for Yanni Posch. Too bad.
Yeah, another climber who's, we've already mentioned outdoor climbing quite a lot. As we see the scores briefly, actually Stefan Rest leading the way. You can see it took him 18 attempts to get those 3 tops. Persistence rewarded.
Funnily, it took him a lot of attempts on the easiest boulder, on boulder number 3. Managed to do the other ones quickly, but struggled on boulder number 3. Anyway.
Stefan Scherz out now, another climber who's been seemingly in good form post-lockdown, climbing outside a lot, and actually the highest ranked of the climbers with only 3 tops in qualifying yesterday.
Yeah, Stefan is also part of the Austrian youth team. He lives in Innsbruck and climbed a lot outside during when the gyms were closed. Of course, in the vicinity of Innsbruck there are a lot of climbing areas, and he's definitely in good shape. Placed 10th in the first part of the Austria Climbing Summer Series last week. And Christoph Schweiger tops boulder number 3.
Yeah, another top on number 3. You're going to need to get that one done if you want to make the final, that's for sure. So Stefan Scherz, just slipping again. We look across the stage at Kevin Heiniger of Switzerland. He didn't get number 3 done.
Sometimes it can also be a mental challenge, because of course Kevin knows that a lot of people topped boulder number 3, and if you're the one not to do it, then it can be really tricky to be motivated again for boulder number 4. In bouldering though, it's very important to try and tick off all the things that happened before and just focus on the problem that's in front of you, because you never know, and sometimes it's just a hard round where one top makes you advance to finals, which will not be the case today, because we've seen multiple tops already. And climbers will need 3 tops, I would say, to advance to finals. Of course, we don't know. That's not a fact. And Philipp is...
Yes, nice top on number 2.
Nicely done by Philipp. His first top in the semi-final round. He can go back to the transit zone and rest for a little bit. Rest. Can't rest. Right now, he's on boulder number 1.
Yeah, Stefan just trying to creep out right. Just looking across the hall, actually, one of the German coaches just talking to the head official of the event. So one of the nice things for us about not having a crowd is we can see what everyone's up to.
Yes, that's true. We're actually looking at an empty hall. There are some chairs with a big distance between them. Everyone is designated 1 chair. And yeah, only the men can watch the men's semi-final. Women can't watch. They'll have to watch at home and listen to us. Yeah, there's no crowd either.
Stefan trying to go quickly, also trying to pop the right foot at the same time. So we've seen some climbers try and go quickly but leave their feet where they are. Really difficult if you simultaneously try and send the foot out.
Yeah, you really have to trust your feet on these purple volumes. There's nothing to hold on to.
They are quite high friction volumes though, aren't they? They're good volumes, but we've seen so many climbers slip when they weren't expecting to. Just caught a glimpse in the background there of Jörg Verhoeven, who's part of the route setting team this week as he was last week.
Does the start really nicely. Come on, Stefan, he has 50 seconds left. That can be enough. But it's probably his last real attempt.
Kevin Heiniger suddenly going well on number 4 up to the zone. And he's gone with the right hand as well. So he's left himself with a little bit of work to do, because it'd be a really tricky way to do this move. To go up with the left hand then the right. And no joy for Stefan. And no joy for Kevin. So that won't be enough for him for a place in the final, sadly. Kim Marschner out next, the first of the 5 climbers who got 4 tops in yesterday's qualifiers. There you can see it, Stefan Rest made the final last week. And looking pretty good this week, albeit it's very early on.
Yeah, now it'll get really exciting to see these top climbers out on the mats, because they are already in the transit zone, obviously, and they know that this is an easier round. So that definitely puts some pressure on these athletes, and yeah, we'll have to see how they'll be able to deal with it.
If you're just joining us, good morning. Welcome back to Innsbruck. 1 week on from round 1 of the Austria Climbing Summer Series. We're back with round 2. Charlie Bosco and Anna Sturr here, as we were all day last Thursday and as we will be all day today. Full day of competition, women's semi-final. The next broadcast will be bringing you at 1 p.m. local time. For now, though, it's all about the men. We've just got our 15th climber out onto the mat, Kim Marschner. As I mentioned a second ago, the first of 5 climbers who picked up 4 tops in yesterday's qualifier. Only one man picked up 5, and he will be out last, and that's last week's winner, Jakob Schubert.
Yeah, 2
Mats
Germans
Kleesattel.
and 2 Austrians out on the mats,
Yeah.
and Max.
Mats Kleesattel, who had a great week last week, doesn't lunge for the top hold, just presses that zone hold.
I believe he likes mentals.
He's got power to spare.
Usually everyone is going dynamically, but there's never only one way when it comes to bouldering. There's always multiple ways, and he just showed us a nice way on boulder number 3. And his teammate Kim still struggling with that starting section.
You can see the volumes are ever so slightly offset. They're not quite parallel. They're closer together at the top and wider at the bottom, which obviously, when you're trying to get in between them, is the reverse of what you want.
And of course, Kim is one of the shorter climbers, so he really has to jump. Either he has to jump high, or he has to try and do it the way he does right now. Yeah, different body types require different solutions, and he found a good solution for himself. Can he go down to the zone, or will he just skip it?
Yeah, remember, you are awarded the zone if you get the top without using the zone en route. So he doesn't have to use it if he gets the top.
Yeah, come on, Jan-Luca, this could be his first top in this semi-final. But his foot is... Yeah, come on, Yanni, nice one.
Uses the knee to good effect and finds the top. Jan-Luca Posch looked a bit frustrated after the first slab.
Yeah, that's the important thing, to not think about something that you didn't do, but focus on what's in front of you and try to do your best.
Could be about to see another top on number 1 as well. Look at that.
He could be the 3rd climber to top boulder number 1. Nice job by Kim Marschner.
Yeah, kind of a heel hook and then put the whole sole of his shoe on the volume and looked very secure when he went up. Just went up with the middle finger on the left hand, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, looked very solid, Kim. So Kim Marschner, Max Kleesattel and Stefan Rest are the only 3 climbers to top the slab so far. And it could be a crucial boulder. Who knows? Another crucial boulder is boulder number 4, because number 2 and 3 seem to be the easier ones, and it could come down to boulder number 1 and 4. in the end of the semi-final.
A few climbers emerging out now who've completed their semi-final round. It's quite funny looking around, climbers miming to each other how they did each move. Seems to be a few differences of opinion about the slab, number 1.
Yeah, they always are. Of course, it's always easy to complain. It's hard to do the job of a route setter. Now Laurens on the powerful and steep boulder, number 4. Chooses the method where he has to match the zone hold. Of course, you could also go up with the left hand, then you would save some energy. Because you don't have to match. We saw that done by Thomas. No, Matthias Posch changed the zone. And Johannes Hofer actually went with the left hand to the zone. Yeah, it looks as if it's a completely normal competition, but from our perspective, it doesn't look so normal. We're looking at an empty hall. But I think all the athletes are very happy to compete again, to be out on the mats, showing their best, or trying to. We have also a speaker, we have music, there are lights up, so it seems quite normal, but the crowd is missing.
That's a tough gig for the DJ and the MC. Not much of an audience.
That's true.
Here's Florian Klingler now, disappointed to miss the final last week. Got close, but couldn't quite get there. Gets another shot this time out. You can tell just by looking at him, he's a powerful climber. Could get on well with this round. Jörg Verhoeven, who I mentioned, part of the route setting team, has just come over, albeit socially distanced, to ask a few of the athletes how they found things.
Yeah, and Flo is also one of the more experienced climbers. He has attended a couple of World Cups. He's 22 years old and was 16th at the World Championship in Innsbruck in 2018 and placed 2nd at the Adidas Rockstars in Stuttgart last year. So he's looking to establish himself as a World Cup climber. And now Christoph Schweiger has the right method on boulder number 4, or the one that saves the most energy. But can't quite get that undercling yet.
Could Philip be about to top number 3? He's getting himself set up, goes dynamically, and it's a pretty good hole he's going for, and he finds a top.
2 tops for Philip. Didn't manage to climb the slab, but he climbed boulder number 2 and 3. And now Florian back on the slab. I'm not sure whether he already touched the zone.
Yeah, we're having some connection issues.
And there's another climber who's changing the shoes. I think this is the round where the round with the most changed shoes. I don't know how to actually say that correctly. That, yeah. Please excuse my English. I'm trying to do my best here. Of course, I'm not a native speaker, so.
I think your grammar is better than mine, so we'll go with the most shoes changed round.
Let's just call it like that. And there Stefan is almost on top of boulder number 2, and he manages to match it. Nice job, first top for Stefan Scherz.
You mentioned about Florian Klingler. He hasn't been awarded the zone on our scores, so I guess he hasn't been there yet. Yeah, apologies. We're having a little delay in some of the scores coming through, but they are beginning to. Stefan Rest is actually leading the way with 3 tops and 4 zones, and Max Kleesattel 3 tops and 3 zones just behind him. But yes. Stefan Rest, who was in the final last week, looking pretty good so far. This is Christoph Schweiger, talking of people who were in the final. Now he's got this really burly hand swap that nobody's yet executed, still not seen a top boulder for.
Which is good, I think, because the other boulders seem to be a little bit easier, especially boulder number 2 and 3. And it could be crucial to actually get the zone on boulder number 1, which is the slab from Florian Klingler. It could be important because, as you all know, scores are tops and then zones. number of tops or attempts to tops and then attempts to zones. So this zone can be important for Flo, and it would be smart to try and touch it. Not 100% sure whether he did so already, as we're having problems with the scoring.
He tried to move quickly there, Florian Klingler. I think this slab is really well set, because if you move quickly, it's punished everyone. I think everyone who's tried to go quickly has been punished. You have to go slowly.
Yeah, that's true.
And he just
and it is hard to actually validate the zone. So if they would have decided to have the whole volume as zone, everyone would have gotten it.
Yeah.
But now it is actually tough to go down to the zone.
So Christoph Schweiger, he's managed to get that left hand up. Sends the right out. Now the hand swap. He's attempted it a couple of times.
And he is a powerful climber. I mean, he has had a lot of attempts now, always going to the high point so far.
He's not going to have time to do it, though. You can see 22 seconds to go.
And Flo really decides to skip the zone. I hope this won't be a bad idea in the end.
And as I mentioned, moving quickly but not being rewarded. Brought quite a large bag with him.
Yeah, you need all sorts of equipment nowadays if you want to go bouldering. Not only inside, but also outside. I saw ventilators the other day, and people are carrying a lot of things now.
He has been awarded the zone now, Florian Klingler.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
because it can be important.
Could be really important, yeah. Especially with Boulder 4 not getting done. Maybe it won't be 4 tops required to the final.
Ooh, I'm sure that boulder number 4 will be done. I bet. Here's my bet. I bet we'll see a top on boulder number 4.
I agree.
And now we have Georg Palmer up next on boulder number 1. He brought a towel. And that can be really important on a slab, because climbers use it to actually clean their shoes. Because if you walk around on the mats, you always collect chalk that sticks to your shoes. And then, like Kim, for example, he also uses a towel on the right-hand side of the screen to get rid of that excess chalk. And now Max, he could be the one to top 4 boulders. He has topped number 1, 2, and 3 so far. Did not get the zone on boulder number 1 though. No, that was completely wrong, excuse me. Of course he did, he topped 3 boulders. Has 3 zones. And now Georg Barmer on boulder number 1.
Letzte Woche im Finale.
So Georg Palmer now, the latest climbers, try and creep across, but again the right foot goes. Surprised we haven't had more climbers scalping their knee on that move. Gianluca, who got it done on number 2, can he find a way on the, judging by the scores, slightly easier number 3? Yes, he can. Every boulder he's actually walked off looking slightly annoyed. Understood on number 1, but he has actually topped number 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think the problem is that you really can't be disappointed at yourself when you don't do a boulder. Especially when you come out and the first one is a slab. It can always be very tricky, and yeah, Gianluca managed to climb 2 and 3, which is nice. Now he has to solemnly focus on the boulder number 4.
That was Kim Marshner on 2.
And Max Klesattel.
Yeah, what a
our
position.
Man to climb 4 boulders so far. Come on, take a good rest, Max, and then give it a good try, because we would love to see a top on boulder number 4.
Yeah, amazing week for him last week. Only just missed the podium in the final here in this exact same hall.
And he is a powerful climber. If I
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing in Munich, but it's working. They all seem to be so strong right now.
Max and Kim are actually both from Schwäbisch Gmünd, so I believe they will train a lot together. teammates, of course, always see each other at training camps, but if you live in the same region, then you might train on a weekly or a daily basis. And now Georg tries a different method on boulder number 1. Nice. Come on. He usually enjoys slabs, so I believe that he's the man to top boulder number 1 and to join the exclusive 3 that is Max, Kim and Stefan, who have topped boulder number 1 so far. Come on, Georg. Has a bigger span, as you can see. Shows it off nicely there.
Come on, Georg. I think he was using a screw hole on the volume and somehow managed to stay on despite his feet skitting out. So if he gets a heel hook, he should be okay. Yes, 4th, top of that boulder. Kim Marschner, Max Kleesattel, Stefan Ress, and now Georg Palmer,
and
top number 1.
And that puts this man in a nice position because not a lot of people have climbed boulder number 1 so far. So he can get a self-confidence boost for these next couple boulders. And Max won't be the one who shows us the top of boulder number 4, unfortunately, but finishes the round with 3 tops.
So
which could be enough.
First of 2 World Cup winners to appear today is about to head out. It's Sascha Lehmann. That's how it stands right now. As you were from last week, really. Max Kleesattel, Stefan Rest and Christoph Schweiger all looking super strong. Thomas Podland, Matthias Posch and David Zinsler, the top 6 as it stands now. Unlikely to stay that way. Florian Klingler now on number 2, a boulder you'd imagine he'd enjoy a little more than the slab. And as I say, Sascha Lehmann just off shot over to the right. So 2 Swiss climbers, 2 Austrians on stage right now.
Yeah, now it counts for Florian and Stefan. They are at boulder number 2 and 3, which are the 2 easiest ones in this semi-final round. So if they want to get a chance to climb in tonight's finals, they'll have to climb these 2 boulders. Both Stefan and Florian are climbing a lot outside. Stefan is climbing more sport climbs outside, while Florian is focusing on bouldering. He did a lot of first attempts in Zillertal this season. And Sascha is also climbing lots outside. Of course, Switzerland has some beautiful areas as well. And wow, now he managed to do a really cool start at boulder number 1.
Yeah, strong legs required for that method.
Absolutely.
Got himself started now. He's taken his chalk bag, which I think is a good idea because it's a slippery boulder, this one.
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. Especially in a slab, sometimes you find yourself in a position where you can actually chalk up because you have some time and you have a good position and you might be sweating. And chalk definitely helps. Bah.
This looks really good
Nice.
for Sascha
Yep.
Lehmann. Now, if he can work the feet up and then heel hook the volume he's got his right hand on, both hands on now, he should be in a good position for top, but it's no joke, this last move.
And he looks really confident. Bah.
See a top there, Stefan Schertz on number 3, and Sascha Lehmann gets it done on number 1.
And that could have been his first attempt.
I think he had a couple of attempts at the start position, actually, yeah. Okay. Remember, if you leave the ground, that's an attempt.
Yep.
Even if you don't actually get hold of all the start holes. I think Sascha just struggled to get in the starting position once or twice. We'll confirm
but once
as it comes through.
Once he was able to start, that looked super solid on boulder number 1
really
for Sascha Lehmann. Wow. Very good job, confidence.
Looked slightly rusty last week in the competition. Looked like he needed a bit of competition practice, Sascha. But a great start for him in today's semi-final.
Yep.
His compatriot Philipp Geisenhoff on number 4, the as yet untopped number 4. Sascha, yeah, it was his second attempt at the boulder. So 1 failed attempt at the start position, but when he actually got on the boulder, he then topped it. Here's Florian Klingler.
Come on, Flo. Bah.
A little bit short there.
Yeah, and of course it's tricky because Florian knows that a lot of people have topped boulder 2 and 3. So he knows that he has to climb this boulder. And that's a tricky situation to be in.
he's got the method right. He's finding the toe catch. He's not as tall as some of the climbers in this semi-final. We should be able to reach.
Yeah, he's definitely able to reach, and he definitely has enough power. The question is if he'll be able to manage in the 5 minutes time that he has now. Come on, Flo. Somehow that's not going to plan. The plan of Florian Klingler. And Philipp back on boulder number 4, where we have different methods of going to the zone, either with the right hand, like he's attempting now, then he has to change the zone, or left hand. Nice.
Just beginning to look a little tired, Philipp, and I can understand why. Pretty physical set of boulders. Flo Klingler's obviously done that first move, got himself out to the zone, and now the second of those huge green volumes. Then you just got to lever yourself up. He should be all right with this move if he can get the foot sorted, which he can. A hard-earned top for Florian Klingler. Had to work for that. It could be absolutely crucial because it means he's now got 1 top and 2 zones from the first 2 boulders. Nikolai Ushnik, the second to last climber out, is on to boulder 1. Only Jakob Schubert's come after him. Nikolai, the highest ranked of the climbers, with only 4 tops in yesterday's qualifiers. First thing he does, quite sensibly, is give everything a brush. He'll know that those holes have had 18 climbers on them already, so he gives the whole boulder a brush. He's very thorough.
Yeah, which is important though, because all the excess chalk that is there is not good for you. You definitely want a clean boulder as you start, and Nikolai is definitely looking for revenge from last week's Austrian Climbing Summer Series, where he did not qualify for finals and was definitely disappointed. And we have 2 roommates out on the mats, actually. Jan-Luca Posch and Nikolai Ushnik just moved in together.
Yeah. What did we call it last week? The House of Psych?
Yeah, that's a good name for it. House of Psych. Come on now, Nikolai. It's a weird position to be in.
Yeah, really strange starter position. There's a few houses of Psych in Innsbruck. Doesn't Jakob live with Misha Pekoruaz?
Exactly, Jakob lives with Misha and Alfons Donauer.
Yeah.
And another former Austrian climber that is...
Yeah, and there's a Stor Fischuber house. There's
yeah, the Stor Fischuber household. It's a good place to be as well, for sure.
And now, Psych.
Yes. Innsbruck is the town of Psych, the city of Psych. And now Georg is looking for his second top.
Yeah, this would put him in such a strong position.
Nice. And I think it did help that he did the slab, for sure. And now Max, Kim is doing it the same way as Max did before him.
I was about to say, second German to use that press method.
Yeah. Come on now, Nikolai. He did validate the zone. There was a crucial decision last week that cost him the final. But all Nikolai should think about right now is boulder number 1, and I believe he's professional and he knows that it's all about today, not yesterday. Come on now, Yanni.
Yeah, his housemate, Jan-Luca Posch, on number 4. Still nobody done this one yet. Could he be the first? Got a couple of tops already.
Yanni has done 2 tops. Of course, this would be so important if he would top boulder number 4, would put him in a good position for finals. Not sure if 2 tops are enough. Come on, Yanni. Bam.
That hand swap proving the crucial part of that boulder. I'm just trying to think. I think we've only had 1 climber go for the top.
On boulder number 4, I think nobody. Yes, you're right.
Somebody slapped for the top. My memory fails me, but somebody's been for the top move. But that hand swap.
I believe it was Matthias Bosch.
I think you're right. But somebody's been for it. But
You're right.
Not many people executing the hand swap, that's for sure. Nikolai now pulling back on Boulder 1.
Yeah, he could join the illicit club of 4 people to climb Boulder number 1. Georg Baumer, Kim Marschner, Max Kleesattel and Stefan Rest were able to climb Boulder number 1.
Just to give you an idea of what it does to you if you can get number 1 done, because it's one of the harder boulders. 3 of the 4, in fact the 3 climbers who finished their rotation, who topped Boulder 1, are currently the top 3 in the rankings. So it's seeing so few tops number 1 that if you can get it done, you put yourself in a very strong position.
And of course Nikolai knows, because Georg has climbed before him, and he knows that Boulder number 1 is doable, and he also knows that number 2 and 3 are easier boulders, because nobody is on the left-hand side anymore, except for Boulder number 4. But he decides to go back while Yanni is still trying hard. This is the important boulder for Jan-Luca Bosch. He needs to get it done to be in a nice position. Come on, Yanni. You can do it.
He's looked frustrated for the much of this semi-final, and that's how his semi-final ends, in frustration. Had a good look at number 4, but couldn't find a way. Here is last week's winner. The strong favourite, really. I think on the men's side there is a strong favourite, unlike the women's, and it is that man right there, Jakob Schubert. Didn't look on 100% form last week, missed a few chances, looked a bit annoyed at a couple of boulders, but if you can not be entirely happy and still win, you know you've had a good week.
Yeah, and what I really liked about Jakob's performance last week is that he tried super hard. Even if he might not be in top form, he might not. There might have been some boulders where he was, where his weaknesses were obvious, but yeah, he tried hard and he fought for the top, and that's the nature of a true champion, in my opinion. Come on, Florian on boulder number 3 could flash it if he doesn't fall on this last move now.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier, he's shorter than some of the climbers, so it's quite a long move. Chooses not to. Oh, he does mantle.
Mantles quickly.
Yeah, third. Asked for a bit of applause from the crowd, but then realises there isn't really much of a crowd, sadly.
No crowd here. I'm curious to see Jakob's performance on the slab now.
Yeah, if Jakob gets this slab done, he'll be in a really strong position. As I say, the 3 climbers who finished their rotation, who topped Boulder 1, are currently the top 3 in the rankings. So that's what it can do to you if you get number 1 done. Still only seen 4 tops. Georg Palmer also topped it, but his semi-final hasn't finished yet. Here's Sasha Lehmann, only just tall enough to span that gap. Had to get the timing perfect. Looking very solid out towards the zone.
Definitely now, one of the smaller climbers, Sasha. But he looked so focused on boulder number 1. And same performance here on boulder number 2. He's confident. This guy is looking for a spot in finals.
Yeah, so he got number 1 done. He'll rocket up the order now. He's got number 2 done as well. So Sasha Lehmann could top all 4. Has the potential to. Stefan Schertz, meanwhile, is on number 4.
And he could be the one to show us a top on boulder number 4. But before that, he has to get the zone. Now we're back on the delicate slab with triple world champion Jakob Schubert. I guess he needs no introduction.
Yeah, he won the double world championship here in his hometown. Doesn't get much better than that. Won the lead in 2018, then a couple of days later picked up the combined as well.
Yeah, and winning in front of your home crowd is a superb feeling.
Jakob absolutely sandbagged me live on Austrian TV when he won the combined. I was interviewing him for ORF. I'll resume in just a second, actually, just to see what Stefan Schertz does.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's focus on Stefan. While he gives a good attempt, now he does get the zone. Has to match it now to get over to the right-hand undercling. Come on, Stefan.
Yeah, you're going right first, get yourself set, and then try the hand swap seems to be the way to do it. Can't get himself set up. No, I was on Austrian TV. We're live. The guy points at me to ask my question, and I said, Jakob, you won the lead earlier in the week, but it must be even better to win a second title, a combined title. And he just went, no, it was much better winning the lead. So, okay, thanks. Next question. One thing when you're interviewing Jakob, you know you'll get a straight answer. We're live on TV, but he still had to be completely honest.
Yeah, definitely down-to-earth guy.
Kind of killed the momentum of the interview a little bit, but yeah.
Come on, Jakob, that looks like a good position for him now. Nice, he could definitely do it now. Come on, Jakob.
Could be putting himself in a really strong position. Heel hooks in, and he's got the top. Little shake of the head, maybe wishes he'd figured that one out a little bit earlier, but he'll like the next 3 boulders even more than the slab, I think, Jakob. So he's off to a dream start in the semi-final. Just checks with the judge that he agreed with the score. Stefan Scherz, meanwhile, with 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, that was really important now for Jakob, as is this 4th boulder for Stefan, because he did not climb the slab and he needs the 4th boulder, but with 15 seconds left on the clock.
No, sadly,
too bad for Stefan.
Yeah, well short, Stefan. That's not even going to be enough for a top 10 finish. So disappointing day for him, just to one top. And 3 zones. That's how it stands right now. Max Kleersattel, who was a bit of a sensation last week, followed it up this week. We're now done with Boulder 1. Saw 6 tops. It looked, when we were checking out the boulders earlier, it looked the hardest of the boulders. But actually, number 4's proved to be the hardest. Number 1, the second
no
hardest.
top so far.
No
on
tops.
Boulder number 4. Max could be, Kim could be the first one to show us a top on boulder number 4. And Georg could be the one to climb 3 boulders, in 3 tops in 3 boulders, because he has climbed boulder number 1. And Nikolai on the right-hand side is definitely looking for a top, a fast top on boulder number 2, because he did not complete the slab. And now it can be very important to top boulder number 2 and 3. Come on, Georg.
Now, Georg actually is in a pretty strong position. Got it done on number 1 and 2.
Yep.
Most people have been topping number 3, so you'd expect him to get number 3. Will he mantle or will he just go for it? Looks like he's just going to go for it.
You'll have to commit, and he's not 100%
trying to decide.
Sure. Come on, Georg, do it.
It's actually not a super hard move, and as soon as he went for it, he got it done. So Georg Palmer, 3 from 3. I still think we'll see someone get all 4. I believe.
I already bet, so I'm counting on these guys. Come on, Kim, you can be the one to top boulder number 4, to be the first to top. Yeah, but as you can see, this hand match is not easy. So if you're able to cross to the zone, you're in a better position, that's for sure. And there's the first top for Nikolai Ushnik in this semi-final round. He tops boulder number 2, and that's very important for him.
You know, the way these scores are lining up, I think the 6 people who top boulder number 1 could be the 6 in the final. We shall see. Nikolai Ushnik certainly got a challenge ahead of him.
It's possible, but of course we could also see a surprise on boulder number 4. If someone who did not top boulder number 1, of course, has to top boulder number 4, but maybe someone will unlock the sequence soon, and yeah, we'll see. Kim also brought a towel to clean his shoes. He looks focused.
It's really interesting boulder this. From below, it looks... I thought it would, put it this way, I thought it would see more tops than it has done. It doesn't look too bad from below, but that hand swap is obviously really difficult.
Yeah, and the problem are these screw holds. They are not good at all. And it's so tiring to get through this bottom section.
They're also dual texture, those tiny black holes, so that it's not like you can even use all of it.
Yes, that's the right method. At least it's the energy efficient method. Of course, it works the other way as well. But now he is in a better position. One now. Wow, that's a completely different way. You'd think he would have to go right.
Somehow got to unravel himself from here.
Yeah, and he's one of the shorter climbers who has a harder time reaching to that undercling. That's for sure.
Also got to be careful with those signs. There's a couple of signs right where your feet go, and you could see a little bit of his concentration being required just to avoid them. Could probably have done without them.
You can't use the signs anymore. Since Jan Hoyer used them in the Bouldering World Cup a couple of years back as handholds, they decided to actually make a rule that says that you can't touch these or use these signs anymore.
Yeah, so it's basically Kim's teammate's fault that he's not allowed to use the signs.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jan, if
Thanks,
you're watching
Jan.
at home, cheers. That's what mates are for.
Of course, others followed, but at least that's the first one that I remember. Please
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong. But I remember that Bouldering World Cup in Vail when Jan actually held the signs. Led to some confusion. But now let's focus on Kim Marschner.
Yeah, he got it. Had a good method where he went up with the left hand to the zone, but this time I think he's going to opt. He's going to choose to do the hand swap. Only climber left on the wall, 12 seconds to go. This is a completely different method altogether. And sadly, I think had to rush a little bit with the clock ticking down. So rotation begins again. Jakob Schubert is back out. Sascha Lehmann is back out. The two World Cup winners in this semi-final field climbing next to each other. Jakob on number 2, Sascha on number 3, and Florian Klingler down there at the end of the stage on number 4. And all three climbers giving the boulders a good brush before they do anything.
And Florian is definitely one of the powerful climbers who could like boulder number 4, especially with the pressure of not climbing number 1. He needs to climb this 4th boulder if he wants to be in finals, which could give him some extra motivation to try super hard on this boulder.
It's a pretty powerful trio on the stage, actually.
Yes, that's true. Can Jakob flash boulder number 2? No.
Read the method perfectly, just didn't quite execute first time.
And those toe catches are very tricky, and especially tricky to flash. So
you can see there the start hold on number 3 is anything on that pink volume. You can see the green tape is on the volume, so Sascha Lehmann can use anything he wants to on that green the pink volume, pink and black volume. Realistically, the only hold he can use is the one he's using, and it's just blocked off. You can see there's a blocker hold just on top of it. Means you can't use the bit you want to use. Here's Jakob Schubert heading for top, so 2 from 2 for Jakob. I presume that was his second, maybe third attempt, so he won't have used a lot of energy.
And Sascha is struggling on boulder number 3 so far. Come on. He has climbed a lot of Raüle climbing area in Switzerland, where he told me that there are 40-meter long routes, and in between there are some jumps, so he should like the jumps. And
chooses to go for the press. Which hand will he free up? Frees up the right hand, no problem at all for Sascha. Jakob Schubert, he got boulder 2 done on the second attempt. For Sascha Lehmann, I believe that was his third attempt. I'll confirm in just a second.
3 tops in 3 boulders for Sascha.
Yeah.
He looked very strong. The second he entered the mat, he looked in competition mode.
Yeah, last week he made the final, but he didn't quite look right. Didn't look 100%. Yep. This week, no problems at all. Maybe just, I think it's been so long since anyone competed.
Of course, it's always different when you're actually out on the mats competing, and sometimes you just can't find the flow.
Well, even Jakob looked a bit rusty. He won, but he still missed
Definitely.
a couple of
but
opportunities.
I mean, of course, Sascha and Jakob have so much experience that they can deal with a lot of different comp situations. And
Flo Klingler, plenty of experience himself, not quite as much as Jakob Schubert, but he's done well on the hand swap. Doesn't look quite as stressed as some climbers have in this position, but he can't quite reach with the right hand.
He can be the first one to top this boulder. But he has to get over to this right-hand undercling.
Left arm surely getting tired, hanging on to that zone.
Yep.
Has a bit of a rethink. He went out with the right hand, but he was just a little bit short, came back, and then never really decided.
And of course, he is one of the shorter climbers, such as Sasha, for example. They definitely have a harder job getting to this right-hand undercling. I mean, but he shouldn't focus on being disappointed about that. He should try to, and definitely he will try to give his best, because he is a world-class athlete and has experience on the World Cup level. Sometimes it's just not as easy to not be angry at the route set at some point instead of focusing only on the boulder.
You can see, by the way, just a little rule. There's a bit of black tape there on the in-between boulders. Came close on the hand swap earlier on. There's a bit of black tape there between boulders 3 and 4 just at the bottom. That means that if you're on boulder 4, you can't touch to the right of the tape, and if you're on boulder 3, you can't touch to the left of it.
Now 30 seconds left on the clock, and this will be the last and most crucial attempt for Florian Klingler. If he wants to advance to finals, he has to top this boulder number 4, which has seen no top so far.
Yeah, I think he might actually struggle to make the final, even if he does it. I'm just looking at the number of attempts. He's not going to do it anyway. Speaking of the black tape, I remember in Innsbruck a couple of years ago, and your heel, was it your heel touched behind you, wasn't it? Yeah.
European champion, World Cup, excuse me, World Cup 2017.
Yeah, and I remember you, did you do a little praying motion? There's something on the live stream. I remember you sort of were interacting with the crowd while the appeal was ongoing.
Yeah, that's true. I was hoping and praying, but of course the black tape, I touched it, therefore I had to go again.
Yeah, your foot went out behind you, didn't it?
Yeah.
Touched behind the black tape. Yeah. So you're not allowed to touch the far side of the black tape. That's what it's there for.
Luckily, I had enough time to try again, and yeah.
That must
interesting moments come up when you're competing.
It must have been 2016. I think
17, I believe, because it was in the Olympic Stadium, and it was just before the World Championship that year. It was the first year. Before that, I think it was on the Marktplatz still, but we can check that later on.
It's terrible, we can't remember.
Let's stay with Nikolai and Georg for a second here. Nikolai needs to top this boulder fast. Come on, Nikolai. He did not climb the slab, boulder number 1.
Yeah, luckily he didn't use many attempts on number 2, so...
yeah, flash attempt from Nikolai Ushnik.
Yeah, it doesn't require many on number 2, and doesn't require many on number 3, so it puts him under real pressure. It means he's got to do number 4.
And nobody has done boulder number 4 yet.
No, and I'm just looking at the people who are currently in the provisional final spots. The top 5 have got 3 tops. Christoph Schweiger currently hanging in there with 2 tops and 4 zones. I don't think that'll be enough for him, though.
Especially Jakob is coming up shortly. He has climbed number 1 and 2. He's looking at boulder number 3. And yeah, I don't think that it'll be enough for Christoph Schweiger.
Georg Palmer, he's currently in 4th, by the way. He's topped all 3 boulders so far. This man we're looking at right now on number 4.
Yeah, Georg we'll see Georg in finals, because even if Sasha and Jacobi are in front of him, he'll still be in finals. Yeah, we'll still have to watch out for Nikolai if he climbs boulder number 4. Let's not speculate too much. Let's check out what Georg is doing here.
I think if he gets a zone here, Georg Palmer, it should be enough for him. He hasn't been awarded it yet, according to our scores. It will probably be enough for his place in the final. As yet, he's not got it.
Georg could be the first one to top boulder number 4.
Yeah, there's only 3 climbers to come after him.
There's a bet going, and I'm worried.
I wish I'd specified the amount of money, actually. Missed opportunity.
No, I'm counting on, I have to say that I'm really counting on Sasha and Jakob. And maybe even Nikolai, because those are powerful climbers. Georg has to bandage his bleeding knee. The rules won't allow him to climb if he's bleeding. He has to put tape or bandage over it. And yeah, Georg, of course, could also climb boulder number 4. Georg finished 14th at the European Championship in lead in Campitello di Fassa in 2017 and was 17th at the World Championship in lead in Innsbruck and 21st at the World Cup in Wujiang in bouldering last year. So he's a all-round climber, climbs both lead and bouldering at a very high level. And he has had a fantastic semi-final round so far.
Yeah, he needs at least a zone here, though. Yeah, he won't have done enough, I don't think, or it'll be close. So he gets a zone now. I think that'll be enough for him. That, depending on attempts, might move him up, but it might just cement him in 4th.
Of course, all we want to see is a top from Georg Baumer on boulder number 4.
He's really struggling to release the right hand.
Come on,
To
Georg.
then go for this next move. He's now got the foot in position. He's a bit taller, so he's able to reach that one without having to go dynamically. Could he execute the hand swap? Wasn't quite sure what to do with the feet. And he won't have time for another go, but that zone could be absolutely crucial. Let's see when it comes through how many attempts it took him. By the way, ahead of him, Stefan Rest required 18 attempts to get his tops because he needed 13 on boulder 3.
And as of now, Stefan, Max, Schweiger Christoph and Lehmann Sascha could be in finals again, just like last week.
Disappointing week again, by the way, for Florian Klingler. Qualified 5th yesterday and ends up at least 13th. Probably going to end up being 14th, maybe 15th. So not a good day at the office for him for the 2nd week running. Jakob now underway with number 3. I was just looking down at the scores. This is his first attempt.
Yep, he could flash boulder number 3. Just like Nikolai did before him. Come on, Jakob. Yeah, no hesitation there. That was interesting to see now, a little difference. A lot of the youth climbers had trouble deciding whether they should go for the last move, and Jakob is confident. He just comes out and crushes it.
Yeah, 7th climber to flash number 3. Leaves Sascha Lehmann all alone on the stage. Could he find a way? He's looked absolutely on top form, Sascha Lehmann. Even goes up the more powerful way with the left hand. They have to go a bit more dynamically, being a bit shorter up to this next big volume.
He's definitely one of the shortest climbers, but he manages. Come on, Sascha, hang in there.
Seen that a few times, and we've also seen a few climbers land on their brushes. Sends you out quite a long way from the wall, that fall.
Did look promising, though. I believe that he will take a good rest now. Shake out, maybe give it a brush again.
Just looking around the hall at who's emerged out. Florian Klingler's come back out and looking pretty fed up. Had a quick word with Kilian Fischhuber and then sat back down.
Yeah, it's hard not to be disappointed if you were aiming for a spot in finals.
We've already mentioned the Stur Fischhuber house. I mean, is there a bit of banter about who won the most gold medals? You know, it's your turn to, I won 2 world championships, so it's your turn to wash up. Is there any of that?
Yeah, totally. I don't do any washing.
No, good. Show me medals.
Yeah. Don't actually know whose roommate Sascha is.
That's a good question, actually.
I have no idea.
No, I don't know.
But he's
he's
living close to Bern. That's the small detail that I know.
Yeah, just into the German-speaking part of Switzerland, so midway between Lausanne and Zurich. Very nice.
Exactly.
Place,
so
Bern.
he speaks a Swiss accent, which is hard for me to understand, but I try. Always nice to practice the Swiss-German skills with the Swiss guys. I enjoy that a lot.
It's the capital of Switzerland, isn't it, Bern?
Bern is the capital,
generally known.
Exactly. And that's a very good idea of Sascha to actually try and take a step back. and to really take your time to do before doing another attempt, because this boulder is very powerful. He already knows how to get to the hold beneath the top, so why would he try and rush it and give it another go? So it's very interesting to analyze the different strategies from these different athletes. He's a World Cup climber and he knows what it takes, and he will give everything on this attempt, I'm sure.
I think he's timed it well, actually, because if he falls now, he's still got 1:15 left on the clock, so he'd have time for another go should he want one. Looks really solid up to zone. Just watch those signs, Sasha.
Come on, Sasha.
Just uses the undercling as an intermediate, goes out right. Now this is the crux. Never looked that solid on the right hand, I thought.
Yeah, I think it's really tricky because the right hand undercling is really slopey, and you'll have to get very high up before you actually release the left hand, which is on the zone, to get to the left hand undercling. And if you get the left hand undercling, you have to crimp it immediately, because yeah, very tough boulder set by the team of Florian Monig. One of the route setters here, the chief route setter, Martin Hammeraff, Andy Matuszka and Joch Verhoeven. 4 of the route setters from today. They've created some interesting problems.
We'd really like to see a top on this one, though.
Yeah, Sasha, I already bet on a top, so I definitely want to see one. Come on, I know he can do it.
Got solid on the right hand that time, but just couldn't quite manage the hand swap. So Sasha Lehmann, he got the zone. That'll be him with... Oh, it's going to be tight. Because if Nikolai... I believe if Nikolai Uznik tops this, then that will get him into the final. Oh, it's going to be tight.
It's going to be really tight, but you'll definitely need 3 tops.
He needs a top, yeah. Right now, the cutoff, I don't know how the route setters do this so consistently. Right now, the cutoff is 3 tops. So the top 6 as it stands have got 3 tops. Everyone below them has less than 3. And yeah, Nikolai Uznik needs a top to stand any chance of make it into the final. Really paying for not finding a way on Boulder 1. And my prediction... I can't believe I'm going to say this because it might be a first. My prediction might come true that the 6 climbers who topped Boulder 1 might be the 6 finalists.
Maybe Nikolai will prove you wrong, Charlie. Come
well,
on, Nikolai.
Someone manages to every week, so...
He knows that it counts right now. Mentally, it's always very hard to be in this position and to know that that's the one that could give you the entrance to finals. Of course, he'll fight extremely hard, and he knows that it takes the top.
If he doesn't top this, though, we do already know before Jakob Schubert climbs who our top 6 climbers will be. He's looking very solid on this. Think about going for the undercling first, but you're actually, that's it, do the hand swap. And again, he chooses to use it as an intermediate, and then this is a tricky move outright to that dual texture hold. Yeah, you've got to get set on that right hand, haven't you? Really find the sweet spot of the volume.
Yeah, and as you could see, the changing of hands on the zone really required energy and time. So if you're able to cross to that zone with the left hand, that gives you a better position and that leaves you on the wall for less long, which would be ideal. Nikolai also has a lot of experience from the European Youth Cups and from some World Cups.
Just so you know, Georg Palmer, Sasha Lehmann, Max Kleesattel and Kim Marschner are through to tonight's final. Stefan Rest and Jakob Schubert currently in 5th and 6th, albeit Jakob hasn't finished his semi-final. Nikolai Uznik looking to displace one of them.
Could be between Nikolai and Jakob yet again. Wow, but Nikolai should really like this boulder. I mean, it's steep, it's crimpy, it's powerful. This man has climbed the Bügeleisen, the famous Klemloskot boulder in Maltadal. That's actually his home ground. This is where he climbs most of the time because he is from that area. Right now he moved to Innsbruck, but someone who can climb Bügeleisen should be able to climb this boulder, I reckon. Don't prove me wrong, Nikolai. We believe in you.
Georg Palmer actually just wandering around the hall now, just stretching off, currently in first place. Safely through to the final, no matter what happens in the next 6.5 minutes. 1 minute 20 left for Nikolai Uznik. Then it'll be Jakob Schubert out unless he finds a top.
So remember, this is his second attempt. He took a lot of rest, which is smart, I believe, because he knows what to do, he knows his strategy, and he knows that he just needs some time to rest. And 2 attempts in 5 minutes for Nikolai. Come on now. Definitely well rested. I think it was a good idea to take your time.
So I think he might go out right and then take a little bit longer, just really getting comfortable on that hold. Here he goes, this is a cream move. And misses it. And for Nikolai Uznik, with 30 seconds to go, he does not have time or energy for another go, and that means we know our 6 finalists. It will be Georg Palmer, Sascha Lehmann, Max Kleesattel, Kim Marsha, Stefan Rest, and Jakob Schubert. So Kim Marsha and Georg Palmer, the only 2 climbers that weren't in last week's final. Jakob now will come out, or he'll come out in 8 seconds with no pressure. He doesn't need to do the boulder.
But he wants it.
He wants it, and of course, if he doesn't even claim a zone, then he will climb first in the final. Climbers going in the final in reverse order, and right now Jakob Schubert is in 6th place.
He's the only one who completed all 5 boulders in qualification yesterday, and he could be the first one to climb all the boulders of qualification and semifinals.
Yeah, it could be 9 out of 9 boulders so far for Jakob.
And that would be an ideal score.
Yeah, the DJ, who doesn't have much of an audience, has got a sense of humor. He just played Mission Impossible as Jakob came out. Nobody yet done this boulder. 4 minutes or so for this to see a top. We'd really like to see a top. Looking over at the route setting team, they've got a hard day today.
Yeah, they also want to see a top, of course.
I wonder if
they set the boulders for everyone to climb. They want a top from every boulder. And yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out, but sometimes it does. Come on, Jakob. He's been on a roll so far, except for boulder number 1, where he still struggled a little bit. But 2 and 3 he executed quite easily.
Yeah, he got number 1 done on his 4th attempt, and then number 2 done on his 2nd attempt, and he flashed number 3. So.
But also did not cross to the zone. I'm surprised by this method from Jakob.
Just trying that undercling. It's obviously so bad.
If someone can do it, it's him. But he does manage.
No problem with the hand swap.
Right hand. Come on, Jakob.
So this is the crux move, it would seem. Can't get the heel set.
Although he did, since he was aiming for another version, I'm not surprised that it didn't work out this try, because he did spend quite some energy on trying to go out first left hand, then matching the zone.
So that'll give him, as it stands, everyone in the finals got 3 tops and 4 zones. So attempts absolutely crucial. Let's see what attempt he got that zone on, Jakob. Because I think that might have him in first place.
He got the zone in the first attempt.
Yeah, I think that might be enough.
So he has 3 tops. Yep.
Yeah, so that's actually
Should
Jakob.
be right,
I think
since he qualified higher than Georg.
I think that'll be Jakob in first place, actually, regardless of whether he gets the top. We at home would like to see a top.
And of course, Jakob also wants to get a top. I am 100% sure about that. It feels like a World Cup if you look at it from my perspective, from the screen. If you look into the hall, you can see a lot of empty seats.
Yeah, it's very strange. The seats were labelled as well on qualifying day. You came in and you had your seat waiting
Everyone
for
has
you.
their own seat, and the seats are 2 meters apart, so there are strict restrictions due to the virus. But everyone is happy to be able to compete again in safe conditions. And that's the important attempt now for Jakob. And for this boulder number 4, does he cross? Yes, he does. Nice.
So he goes for the cross method. Yeah, it should save him a little bit of energy.
And now, power. Come on now, Jakob.
Just trying to figure out what to do with the feet. You need to get that left heel engaged, probably, to do this heel swap. Doesn't look that comfortable, Jakob, and he can't find a way to do it. Time ticking down. He's already had 2 attempts. So we think he's in first place anyway. He's
but I am
in the
surprised,
final.
I have to admit, because I thought now he has the right method. He moved super efficiently to the zone, had the right method, saved some power and energy, and still couldn't do that move. So that proves to be an extremely tough boulder set by the route setting team. Please show us a top on boulder number 4. You're the last one, Jakob. I don't want to lose my bet.
I actually thought there would be 4 tops.
Yes. Come on, Jokke.
Is he going to just...
Chooses a different way.
So boulder 4 goes untopped. Climber earlier managed to attempt the last move, but nobody else has got that tricky hand swap. It matters not for the results, or for Jakob's results, I should say. You can see it there. He does end up in first place, requiring only 7 tops to get his 7 attempts to get his 3 tops. He'd be joined in the final by Georg Palmer, Sascha Lehmann, Max Kleizattel, Kim Marschner and Stefan Rest.
So
Christoph Schweiger narrowly misses out on a 2nd final in a row. Always the toughest place to finish, 7th.
Yeah.
But that is our final. Jakob Schubert, top in the qualifying round, top in the semi-final. Won last week as well. Can he follow it up this week? We will find out this evening. That's it from Anna and I for now. We will speak to you in just under 2 hours for the women's semi-final.
Join us again. Goodbye.
Klare Entscheidung. Das sind die einzigen 6 mit jeweils 3 Tops. Und wir sehen und hören einander wieder um 13 Uhr. Mahlzeit, gute Mittagspause und bis bald.